Hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Good morning if you're on the West Coast. Good afternoon if you're somewhere in the middle or on the East Coast. Very excited for the next 3 days. You'll see Mr. Metzger's very excited with his color choice today as well once he gets back on screen. We'd love to see your beautiful faces. Please, we've got like half of you without your cameras on. Please turn them on. Makes this so much more fun, so much more interacting. I think this is it's definite. We've definitely done 2 of these, maybe 3. And you guys keep coming back. So it means we must be putting out some good stuff. We're going to give it about another minute or so. Definitely need pen and paper, some note-taking devices. Maybe you prefer the iPad and Apple Pencil. Mr. Metzger's a big iPad fan. He doesn't even own a computer, which is crazy. Oh, we've got Tass on today too. Awesome.
How are we doing?
Good. Metz, you're looking very bright.
You like that little pink for the occasion?
Very nice. Very good.
Thank you.
Well, I'm very excited. I was saying, I think this is our second, maybe our third year doing the Martial Arts School Owners Summit. And we really wanted to theme this year, and especially with the timing, we know that everybody needs to be focusing on setting your summer up for success. So that is really going to be the theme over the next 3 days. We always get questions around the recordings. Yes, we are going to put the recordings out. However, the giveaways are only for the people that stay on for the first 2 hours. And these giveaways are really going to make sure that you can implement everything that we are going over today. So please stay on. We will get the recordings each day before the end of the day. We got Mr. Brian on, and he is super fast. And we'll also get you the keynotes as well. So you guys will get the recording and you will get the keynote. We still have a bunch of people popping in. We had over 350 people register. Typically, you usually see about a 50% show rate. So that's what we're hoping and aiming for. But we have a ton to get into. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, Mr. Metzger, if that's good. And I'll do a little intro and then we'll kick it off.
Sounds great.
All right.
Nice
glasses too.
We're going to record?
It's always recording. Yes.
Thank you, Chris. I don't know how this stuff works. Thank you.
Yeah, I have mine set up automatically, so I don't have to remember because I've forgotten in the past. So it just automatically records. All right, guys, these are going to be interactive sessions. We're not just going to sit here and talk at you for 2 hours. So let me know, where are you coming from? What city, what state? Drop it in the chat. Get those fingers moving. And I'm going to go ahead and get the keynote up and running. Let us know where you're from. Always love to see where everybody's at. All right. Very good. A lot of Texas people. Very cool. Okay. So today, tomorrow, and Thursday from 12 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern, you've got Mr. Metzger, you've got Mr. Shane Tossell, and you also have myself 3 days in a row. And for those of you that are maybe new to MAIA, and this is something that we look at when you guys register, we can see what other events or, things that you've opted in for or information that you've requested. And we have almost like 60 people that are brand new to MAIA that have never participated in one of our events. So if that is you, I just want to let you know that our mission at the Martial Arts Industry Association is to help martial arts schools impact their communities and provide them with opportunities for team members by maximizing their profitability. And we are going to be talking about that. I'm sure Mr. Metzger and Mr. Tassell's sessions are going to be all about increasing your recruitment, increasing your revenue, and increasing your retention this summer season. And it's not just a couple of us here at the MAIA team. We have a full team. We have 8 consultants now. All of our consultants are successful school owners who specialize in specific areas and will ultimately provide our clients with the tools guaranteed to grow their school. But on top of our consulting team, Mr. Metzger's got an entire team over there in Orlando at the headquarters that are here for our clients as well. Now, why do we offer this, right? We offer the Martial Arts School Owners Summit. I mean, we've been doing webinars almost every month for the past couple of years, and it's just because we are dedicated to offer the industry the best free information that you can find online to help you recruit more students, retain your current students, and increase your revenue. And what we promise is that this is not going to be some webinar, and this is how most of them are, unfortunately, in the industry, where they tell you what you need to do, but they don't tell you how you need to do it. And it's because if you want to learn the how and the implementation, you have to pay them for it. And that's just not how we are. We're going to teach you what to do. We're going to teach you how to do it. And yes, we are going to pitch you at the end because we know that our programs in MAIA can help you achieve your goals, because it's helped literally hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of schools achieve their goals. And that's really for the accountability aspect of it. So we're really excited to spend the next 3 days with you. And please make sure you're showing up each day. We do put out the schedule beforehand, but don't pick and choose, because what we're going over, it's a blueprint, it's a system, and you need to make sure that you're hitting every single one of them. So today you've got myself and Mr. Metzger. Tomorrow, Mr. Metzger is going on twice. You get a whole lot of Metzger tomorrow. And then on Thursday, Mr. Tassel is going to be presenting as well. So one of my favorite quotes from the book, Atomic Habits: you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. So everything that we are going over is a system, and we want you to implement each of these together. Now, I very specifically put a few short words from our lead consultant before we get started. But Mr. Metzger, before I dive in with my first session, what would you like to say to everybody that has joined us? We got about almost 100 people on right now, which is awesome.
Congratulations on just making time for yourself to see if there's anything that you could take away that may help you run your school more efficiently, or be able to help you grow your school. At the end of the day, we are in the business of martial arts. Doesn't have anything to do with the quality of what you teach, what style you teach. But at the end of the day, business is important, right? It's how you feed your families. It's how you can take care of your future staff or your current staff and give opportunities. So hopefully everybody has a little bit of an open mind and understand the intent is we are always trying to just help the industry be better, you know? And so I appreciate everybody that's on, and I'm excited about the next couple of days.
And maybe just a couple of words on why they should maybe listen to us. Any thoughts on that?
Well,
besides your shockingly good looks, I mean, that's, you know.
Thank you, Chris. I was hoping you would say that, not me. Instead of my sarcastic sense of humor, because I like to have fun, at the end of the day, just everybody, for those of you who don't know, you know, I started my martial arts school 33 years ago or whatever. I was charging $4 a class, pay as you go, and went from that to over $6 million in revenue with 9 locations that myself and Mr. Silverman own. We're the only 2 owners. We don't have partnerships with anybody. Plus, we have 161 licensed locations around the country and Canada. And so we just have a system that I believe works. And just the last thing that I'll say is I was very, very adamant, even with my own team, that it doesn't matter how much revenue they're bringing in, we will not jeopardize quality for revenue. So I just want to say that up front. For those of you who might get certain thoughts in your mind, because this is a business seminar, so we will be talking about how to grow your business and generate revenue. But I don't want you to think that it means you have to jeopardize your quality of instruction. And that's a big issue in our industry. So that's it.
That was it?
Well, I can continue. So anyway, I was born in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir, for that. We're going to go ahead and get into our first session. And this is going to be very different than any of the other sessions. I'm really trying to help you set yourself up for success with this winning the summer before it starts. So like I said, very different from what Mr. Metzger and Mr. Tassel is going to be going over. But what I find is oftentimes we get a lot of people on these webinars and these master classes, but they don't execute. So this is all about setting yourself up to be able to execute everything that we're going to be teaching you. If that sounds good, can you drop a 1 in the chat and I will get this party started. All right, there we go. Very good. Thank you so much, guys. So I began my martial arts journey back in 1993, and I knew that this was the career choice that I would want. I would want to be doing something in the martial arts industry. And I opened my school, Gracie Pack, back in 2012 and joined the MAIA team with Mr. Metzger. He was my consultant back in 2015. So it's been 10 years now that I've been a part of MAIA, either as a client or as a consultant. And the reason why I bring that up is because I understand what you're going through. While I exited my school a little over a year and a half ago, I truly understand what it's like to be a school owner because I was one for a very long time. And I'm just curious, does anyone ever feel like summer sneaks up and punches your attendance in the face? It's like you're kind of, bracing for the attendance to start dipping down. Yes or no in the chat. Do you ever feel like it sneaks up and punches your attendance in the face? All right. We see it often when we're working with clients that they look at summer as really like a time that sabotages their growth, and it doesn't have to be. Now, has anybody ever considered running all-day summer camps to kind of help make up for this quote-unquote summer slump? Is anybody doing all-day summer camps or have considered it? Okay, I'm seeing a couple of yeses. Do 12 weeks of summer camps. We want to. Okay. I fell into that group of people that got really nervous about summer and the quote unquote summer slump and made a decision to offer summer camps, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But the way that MAIA does summer camps it's slightly different. So ultimately, we want to help you keep your revenue up during that June and July time period without having to work 18-hour days, because I know what those 18-hour days are like. I've done them when we were running all-day summer camps. And my session is going to be all about preparing you with having the right mindset, because mindset plays a huge role into your success as an entrepreneur. Give you the systems and habits of what I would consider a high performance leader. Okay. I think there are school owners that react to summer, and then there are school owners that win summer. And if you're on this, it's because you want to win summer, and we're going to help you with that. We're going to talk about 5 mistakes that school owners make, how to really win the morning so you can win the summer season. I'm going to talk about daily and weekly cadences for success, and I'm going to give you my listing system to help you increase the likelihood of you executing on everything that we're going over. And then also talk about different project management systems so that you can delegate better. So just curious, so we have a good understanding of the different levels of schools. How many full-time employees do you have? Can you guys drop that in the chat? How many full-time employees do you have? And this is just going to give us a good understanding. So we've got a lot of one-man, one-woman shows in here. Okay. That's great to know. Mr. Metzger, take a look at this, because this gives us a good snapshot of who we have on here. And we've got a lot of people with just 1 or 0 staff members.
Yes, I am. And I would say, for those of you who do have full-timers, are they salaried employees or are they hourly employees? And are any of you doing, as independent contractors, which you really shouldn't be? But you don't have to put it in there, but the full timers, are they salary or hourly full time people?
Great question. Awesome. Okay. So let's dive into this in terms of 5 common mistakes that I see happen, especially around the summertime. And first and foremost is that school owners, they don't know what they want. And this was the group that I really fell into. I was one of those school owners that got, I'm going to call it, hypnotized into believing that I needed to run an all day, all summer camp in order to keep up my revenue during the summer. And I did run them for 7 years until I finally listened to Mr. Metzger, because there is a better way. And I'm not here to bash summer camps, but I can tell you, when I was dreaming up, my perfect school before I opened the doors, having my academy open for 16-hour days, taking hundreds of kids on field trips, cleaning up goldfish crumbs all over the floor after summer camp lunch, hearing screaming kids throw dodgeballs all day, that was not part of my dream. Right. And maybe that is part of yours and there's no judgment there. But I think this is a mistake that a lot of school owners make. They don't really think about what they truly want. And they can get like hypnotized by this. You have to be doing all day summer camps in order to have a successful summer. And it's just not true. And that's really what Mr. Metzger, Mr. Tassel are going to be showing you. You can run camps, but they don't have to be all day, every day. So the kind of second thing that I see is just people ultimately having a bad mindset around summer. And so they make knee-jerk reactions. We saw a lot of knee-jerk reactions during COVID. I was operating GrowPro at that time. And within the first couple of weeks when COVID hit, we lost about 30% of our clients because they were freaking out, rightfully so, right? And I was in that group of, school owners that were freaking out. And they were so worried that they just started looking at all of their expenses for what they could cut. And a lot of them had these knee-jerk reactions of completely cutting out marketing and then realizing like, oh, well, if we're not doing anything for marketing, we're not going to be able to sign on any online students. So I want you to really kind of switch your mindset about summer being a slump. It doesn't have to be a slump. I mean, we have clients have record months, especially in July, because they're not stuck in this summer slump mindset. Okay. Also, a big mistake is just planning too late. For some of you, summer starts, maybe in June. For us down here in Florida, like it's starting in about 3 to 4 weeks, the kids are out of school. So you still have time, but you're going to need to have a sense of urgency in implementing what we're going over. And then next up, they don't execute. Okay. And that is why I wanted to put together this presentation to kind of give you some tools so that it makes execution a little bit easier. And then finally, they don't rally their students and parents around a shared vision of what summer should really, really look like. These are a couple of pictures of at the height of our summer camp. This is back when we had like 3 or 4 vans, and we were bringing the kids to Chuck E. Cheese, and this was a bounce house place. And funny enough, this Chuck E. Cheese, this picture on the bottom, that was actually my very first job. When I was 15, I worked at this Chuck E. Cheese. I had to dress up as the rat for $5.50 an hour. And, when I was bringing the kids there and, taking this picture and really kind of thinking back, like when I was dreaming of what my ideal martial arts school looked like, going on a field trip to Chuck E. Cheese with 100 kids just really wasn't on the vision board. And this is why you really got to ask yourself, what do you want out of your business? I mean, we create a business, I would think, to have some form of freedom. And my hope is that over the course of the next 3 days, we can show you a different way than just, having to do all day summer camps. And, just kind of going back to this mindset in terms of what are you really telling yourself? Are you saying summer is going to stink? Summer's going to be slow? Like, if you tell yourself that, then that's what's going to happen. I'm currently rereading the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yes or no? Have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Let me know. Wow, a lot of no's in here. Guys, put this on your reading list, please. This was one of the first personal development books that I ever read, and I reread it every single year. The books that have been the most impactful in my life, I'll reread it. And, the kind of underlying thought of this book is that your thoughts are the most powerful thing that you have. And if you are sitting here saying summer stinks or summer's always slow, then guess what? It's gonna be. And then if you have team members, which we just polled you, and many of you do, if they're hearing that, guess what they're going to be thinking? They're going to be thinking summer's supposed to be slow and summer's supposed to be a slump. So you've got to be really conscious of what you are telling yourself. And my hope is over the next 3 days, we can rewrite that story so that you don't automatically think that summer is a slump. Okay. One thing, and we can make sure if everybody mutes themselves, please. As we approach, yes, Mr. Morales, we do need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. One thing that we see at GrowPro, so GrowPro is my digital marketing agency. We work with around 600 martial arts schools all over the United States, and we see about a 10% increase in our clients requesting to pause their ads during the summer because it's slow. And when I think about that, like it's kind of like stopping your ads in the summer because it's slow is like turning off your headlights because it's dark. It really just makes absolutely no sense. And what you should be considering is increasing your marketing efforts, right? And if you do have a budget set aside, increasing that budget. And there are 3 times, I learned this from Mr. Metzger, that you need to go hard in the paint with your marketing. And that's going into summer, coming out of summer, and going into the new year. And with us going into summer, it's time to pour gasoline on the fire. And what I see as a mistake is just for easy numbers. Let's say you budgeted $12,000 for the year for your marketing. What most school owners will do is say, okay, it's $12,000. There's 12 months. It's $1,000 a month I'm going to put towards my marketing budget. And that's actually not the best way because there is seasonality and there are times that you need to push harder. And this is one of those times. And our promise is if you implement what we go over the next 3 days and you do push harder, that summer won't be a slump. Okay. But you got to execute. One of my favorite quotes, if knowledge was enough, we'd all be driving Lamborghinis and would have a 6-pack. It's not enough. We have to implement. We have to execute. And the last thing on this just kind of like mindset piece is there can be 2 competing truths. One of them is that the more prepared person usually wins. And I do believe that, like the most prepared or the most dedicated. However, you get credit for action, not for preparation. So, pat yourself on the back for being here and showing up for the next 3 days, but you only get credit for taking action. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the different strategies. And in terms of what I like to call winning the morning in order to win the season. And time is the great equalizer in life. We all only get 24 hours in a day. And we all know people that you look at them and you're like, man, how do they get so much done? It's not like they're magically creating extra time. Now, if you have team members, you can absolutely create extra time because you are buying back your time by having other people do the things that you are delegating. But one of the things you need to look at is how you are structuring your day. For some of you, what you learn here over the next 3 days, you won't implement just because of the way that you have your day set up. You're not putting the time aside to specifically get what I like to call deep work done. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've consulted school owners where, we meet them, and this is apart from if you have a full-time job, right? If you have a full-time job, I understand. But if you don't have, a full-time job, just speaking with so many school owners who end up going into their school about 1 to 2 hours before their school opens, right? So let's say classes start at 5, they're kind of rolling in at 3 o'clock. And what they're doing from 9 to 3 isn't really working on the business. And I always tell my GrowPro team, they work 9 to 5. I tell them your 9 to 5 pays your current self. What you do from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. pays your future self. For school owners, what you do from 9 a.m. until your school opens is ultimately going to determine your success. And I want you to look at that time frame as a runway. Okay, we need that runway to be able to work on the business and not just in the business. And one of my favorite ways to do that and set myself up for success is through time blocking. Now, we're not going to spend a ton of time on time blocking. I think, most people probably understand the concept. But what I do want to talk about is energy management versus time management. I find that, there are certain time periods during the day where people's energy is at a peak. I'm curious, can you let me know in the comments, are you like a morning person? Are you a night owl? Do you get maybe, a stroke of energy midday? Let me know. Like, when are you at your energy peak? All right, we got a lot of morning people in here. Couple of night owls, 5 a.m. I'm in the 5 a.m. club as well. All right, awesome. Very good. And I think this is important because when you're setting up and structuring your day, you need to consider when you are at those peak energy levels. Okay. Now, regardless if you are a night owl, the one thing that you do have to remember is that, business isn't really going on at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So there are certain things, like lead follow up that you're not going to be able to do if you're a night owl. But what I want you to just consider is how you are blocking your day and considering having like morning blocks and afternoon block as well. So like this is my 9 to 11 block. This is my 11 to 1. This is my 1 to 3. And that is completely separate from when you are actually in the school working in the business versus working on the business. Reading suggestions for time blocking. I don't have reading suggestions specific for time blocking, but I do have some time management book suggestions. When Mr. Metzger goes, I'll drop that in there for you because there are some really great things. One of them that comes to mind is called David Allen's Getting Things Done. This is like an old school book. It was written, I want to say, like in the 80s or 90s. And I think it's one of the best books on organization and how you're setting up your day. So that's one of the books, but I'll drop a couple of more because I do have a handful. So what I want you to just consider is how you structure your day will determine whether or not you are going to have the time to be effective and execute on everything that we are teaching you. Okay. Now, if you're a morning person, what I want you to consider is doing those high creative kind of time blocks during the time that you are at your peak energy. So for example, I do a lot of video content. I film podcasts, film videos for ads. For me, the ideal time to do that is around like 10 and 11 a.m. That's just when I'm at my peak energy state. Me trying to film at like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., I'm just not going to be at my best. So you need to consider what your energy flow looks like and what you are going to be doing during that time. And trying to set up your day so that similar tasks are done at the same time, as opposed to switching from something that may be left brain to right brain. Okay. One of the things that I committed to that was really helpful to protect that time is, unless it's like an absolute emergency, I personally will not take meetings until after 12 p.m. because I know that that morning time from 9 to noon is when I am at my peak state to be able to really focus on working on the business. Okay. Another thing that served us really well was theming our days in the academy. Now, when I say theme, that doesn't mean it's the only thing that you're doing, But it could be like on Mondays, we're really going to heavily focus on marketing. On Tuesday, we're going to focus on training. On Wednesday, we're going to focus on grassroots. On Thursday, we're going to focus on retention. And just having kind of an overall theme for your day and grouping those different activities together. Now, there are certain activities you have to do every single day, like follow up with your leads, right? That is a daily activity. Cleaning your school. For some of you, that might be multiple times a day if you have morning classes and evening classes. But theming your day can really help around having the energy for those specific activities that you need to get done. Okay. Yes, Sensei Pedro, Dan Kennedy, man, what an amazing author. He is the OG of direct response. He has books called the No BS Guides, and he has a book called the No BS Guide to Time Management, and it is exactly that. If you like straight to the point and blunt, kind of like Mr. Metzger, if you like how Mr. Metzger teaches, you'll like how Dan Kennedy teaches and reading his books. So that is another really great option. Marty asked, do you recommend any particular project management software? The one that you are going to use and is you enjoy the user interface. So we don't talk a lot about project management software in the martial arts industry, but I know there are schools that will utilize them. Some of the bigger names, you've got ClickUp, you've got Asana, you've got Monday. Those are kind of like the three major players. And my suggestion is they all offer like free demos, is to check them out. ClickUp is kind of like a rocket launcher for an anthill. It's really good if you're looking for like customized project management setup. But I've heard a lot of really great things about Asana and Monday in terms of the simplicity of being able to use it. So those are the three that I would check out, and just depending on your needs. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your daily cadence as well. One concept that I've implemented with a lot of success is bookending my days. And I have a very specific set of things that I do in the morning for my business, and a very specific set of things that I do when I'm getting ready to shut the laptop for the day. And kind of having this concept of bookending your day, when it's going to start and when it's going to end, for me has allowed me to have better work-life integration and has allowed me to be present with my family. I've got a 5-year-old son. I've got a wife. And when I'm home, I want to be able to be present and be home. And I think one of the traps of entrepreneurships is what Even Pagan calls the gray zone. And what the gray zone is when you're at work, you're thinking about your family and home. And then when you're at home, you're thinking about work and everything that you have to do. And we want to avoid that gray zone as much as possible. And what's helpful for me is having this kind of the way that I start my business day and the way that I end my business day, so that I can be fully present when I go home. Okay. So bookending the days, and then just making sure that every single day there is effort put into sales and marketing. This is a habit of the most successful school owners. Every single day, there is a focus on the marketing as well as on the conversion aspect of new students. And you need to make sure with your time block that if you're a one-man or one-woman show, or you only have some part-time help, then that's on your plate. Okay. If you do have team members that you can delegate that every single day, you need to have that on their time block. Okay. And then a weekly cadence. And that just means we have weekly team meetings. We're looking at our financials each week. We're batching content each week. And this is going to look slightly different just depending on how many hats that you wear in your school. But I don't think enough school owners really look at structuring their day-to-day and their week to help set them up for success. Now, do I think everybody has the personality to put something like this together? No, I am a type A personality, but I just want to showcase how I have my day-to-day set up, because I do think I am one of those people that people look at and they're like, man, she gets a lot done in a day. And it's because I do time block and I do put specific similar things together. One of those things is my power list. And you're going to notice I have many hours on my calendar that are dedicated to my power list. Those are the things that are the most important in the business that need to get done. And that's what I consider my deep work day. And for many school owners, you don't even have an hour on your calendar for you to be able to really focus on the deep work that is going to move the business forward. Yes or no in the chat when you see something like this. Yes, you get excited, or no, you don't get excited. I think there's two groups of people when we talk about like time blocking and structuring their day. All right. Yeah, it's about 50-50. Absolutely not. I appreciate the honesty. Mr. Metzger is definitely one of those absolutely not people. But there, about half of you are yes people as well. And the point of this is, if you are struggling to feel like you don't have enough time in your day, then I would consider looking at building some form of a time block where you can say, okay, I don't get home until 10 o'clock at night. I'm eating dinner at 10:30. Maybe I'm in bed by midnight. So, I got to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to be up at 8 a.m. I want to have a little bit of a break time for myself. But there's got to be a time point on your day where you're going to say, okay, I'm getting in the zone. I'm going to start my morning business ritual and I'm working on the business. And then just looking at how you can group your daily activities together so that you're doing them when you are at a peak energy state. Okay. So I do get excited and then sigh at the how. Yeah. The how is literally, this is just a Google spreadsheet. And my day-to-day is probably very different from yours. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. If you're not getting home until 10 o'clock, you're not going to be getting up that early. So things are going to shift. But what I want the major takeaway to be is, you should be assigning specific time periods throughout your day for the specific work that you're going to do. Just having a list is not enough. And that's really where time blocking comes in and can really help set yourself up for success. Okay. I said this earlier, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And one of the things that we recommend to all of our MAIA clients is making sure that they don't just plan annually, but they also plan on a quarterly basis. And Andrea, this is a great question. I want to touch on this. Not sure I like the idea of every day feeling too routine or the same. Yeah, 100%. Does my every single day look like that? No, right? I mean, especially if I'm traveling, if there's family things going on. This is what I would consider my perfect average day. And this is something that I have been really focused on building as, an entrepreneur. And every time a birthday comes around, and I'm sure you guys get this question too, people ask like, what are you doing for your birthday? Are you doing anything special? And typically when it's my birthday, my response is, I'm just doing my perfect average day. Maybe we'll go on a trip or something like that. But I want to set up every single day of my life so that if it's just an average day, I'm completely happy and content with that. And, I think, and Mr. Metzger, maybe you can touch on that here for a second, because you don't need to work anymore, right? You don't need to be doing MAIA and CMA and all of those things. You don't need to be coming into the office. So why do you still do that? You still have this kind of like average day that you're still following, even though you don't need to.
Because I love it. I love what I do. I mean, that's the simple answer.
Yeah. And I think all of us, shouldn't we be setting up our day-to-day to do the things that we love? Right. So just kind of a concept for those of you that maybe look at that, Jocko Willink has a great book, Discipline Equals Freedom. And I truly believe when you start to get disciplined with things like that, it actually gives you more freedom in your life as opposed to constraint. Okay. All right, let's go back. Back to the annual planning and the quarterly planning. Right now, we're about, we're halfway through the second quarter. Okay. I would have hoped that some thought would have gone into what you're going to be doing for summer, as opposed to just answering this question right now, right? So we train our clients at MAIA to really think about planning from an annual basis and also a quarterly basis so that summer doesn't sneak up on you. It doesn't feel like you're getting punched in the face with attendance dropping, and you're not making knee-jerk reactions because you took the time 3 months before summer even came to start planning for it. Okay. Now, if you haven't done that, it's okay. We're going to help you. But I do want you to start thinking about these just cadences that you should have in your business, and quarterly planning should absolutely be a part of it. Now, I get asked often, like, Chris, what's your organizational process? And I have tried everything from apps to pen and paper to digital. And what I have found, and this is true in business, that simple scales, fancy fails. And this is the most simplistic listing method that you could possibly use, but it's something that allows me to make sure every day I am executing and moving things forward. I used to just have a to-do list, and I would use pen and paper. And the downside to pen and paper, and this happened with one of my team members who was adamant on using pen and paper for his list, is that he would forget it. Sometimes he would leave it at home. Sometimes he would leave it at school. So I am a fan of having this digitally because of the power of the cloud. And when you have a list that's in the cloud, like your Google Drive, this is just a Google sheet that lives in my Google Drive, I can access it no matter where I'm at. I can access it from a phone, from an iPad, from a computer. And what's really cool about using Google Docs is you can make it so that you can access it if you're offline. So if you don't have access to Wi-Fi, you can still access it. And what I used to do is just write down a list of everything that I needed to do. And then I would put like, all right, this is the first thing I'm going to do. This is the second thing I'm going to do. This is the third thing that I'm going to do. But it never felt like I made progress on that list because things just constantly get added to it. Does anybody ever feel that way with their to-do list? Like it just feels like it never gets done because you're always adding something to the bottom. And it's like, man, there's never enough time to get all of this done. So this is what I call the power list. At the top, I have my top 5 priorities for the day. So these are the things that absolutely need to get done. When do I do it? Well, during my deep work session, which I have on my calendar. Then I have my closed list, and these are the next 10 things of importance that at some point in this week need to get done. Now, I have a personal assistant. However, if you have team members and there are projects that you're both working on, maybe there's something that you're waiting on them to finish, and I just put that in the assist area. So anything I'm waiting on for someone else to complete. And then I have my open list, and this is where all of my ideas go. Many ideas go there to die, but the way that this list works is it moves from the bottom to the top. So the ideas in the open list go to the closed list, only can have 10 items. And then the things on the closed list ultimately work their way up to the power list. And because of this, it feels like there's motion and you get momentum because it's not the same thing on the list every single day. This is, like I said, something I can access with my phone. It's very simple. It's on a Google Doc. I've tried all the different apps that are out there. And like I said earlier, simple scales. And if you're looking for a way to just stay a little bit more organized, I would consider implementing the power list. Okay. The last part, as I wrap up here, is making sure that you have a system in place for stability with all of the different projects that you have going on in your school. So we use the term rocks as opposed to projects. It's something that we're committing to over the next 90 days. Over the course of the next 3 days that you're spending with us, there are going to be things that you are going to commit to doing. How are you going to track that? And especially if you have a team, having just a spreadsheet where you can track all of the different summer campaigns that you're doing, such as your events or your promotions, is just a very easy way to make sure everybody knows what their responsibilities are. And this is a super simple spreadsheet. I just created it in Google Sheets. It's got the event name. What is it? Is it an event? Is it a promotion? Is it a campaign? When are we starting it? When does it end? And then where are we at? Have we not started it yet? Is it in progress? Is it completed? And then what are the steps? And if there's anybody that is responsible for helping, and then just notes at the end. So if you're kind of feeling like, especially at the end of these 3 days, you're going to have action items. There are going to be projects that you are going to take on and you're going to have to implement. If you want to just stay a little bit more organized and knowing where everything is, I would consider doing this summer campaign tracker. Okay. For those of you that do have larger teams, and there were some of you that had double digits in here, potentially putting together like a project management outline can be really helpful if there are just a lot of people that are involved. If there's not, I wouldn't worry about this. Just having a simple spreadsheet just to be able to keep track where everybody is at is going to be good enough. Okay. Some final thoughts. You really want to get your team, for those of you that have a team, rallied up around what your summer mission is, okay? You guys are going to watch this for the next 3 days, and you're going to be super pumped up. However, you need to get your team bought into this as well. So having a meeting with them with, guys, this is the summer game plan. These are the key performance indicators. These are the numbers that we're going to be going for in terms of like, this is how many buddy passes we want to aim to hand out. These are the number of appointments. These are the numbers of enrollments. And then just going through the calendar with them to game plan on how to have a successful summer. You also should be considering communicating with the parents early, putting together something like a summer survival guide for the parents so they know everything that is going to be coming to your school over the course of the summer. We want to be proactively marketing to them all of the different options that are going to make your summer great, okay? One of my favorite quotes: if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 6 sharpening the axe. And that's what today's first kind of kickoff presentation was, because I just see it so many times. We got 130 people on right now, and maybe some of you are going to take action. And I just want that some to be the majority. And I think a lot of it has to do with just potentially lack of organization and how you're structuring your day to set yourself up for success. Yes, that is an Abe Lincoln quote. Remember, summer isn't the enemy. It's an advantage when you plan early. All right, guys. So that's it. What I want you to do here, and we're going to do this for each section, give me one. It doesn't have to be 3. Okay. 1 to 3 major takeaways. Let me know what they are in the chat. What was one thing you took away? Up to 3, but at least 1. What was your major key takeaway from this session? Mr. Johnson says Google Sheets, the summer event tracker spreadsheet. Love it. Bookending your day, creating a power list and the close list, the time blocks. Awesome. Keep them coming. Very good. Okay. Whatever you just put in the chat, I want you to put that on a blank sheet of paper, and at the top, just put key takeaways from Martial Arts Success School Summit, okay? So just put key takeaways, and then you could put session number 1 and write whatever you just put in the chat. And we're going to come back to this after each section so that at the end of the 3 days, you have all of your key takeaways from each one of the speakers. All right, guys, that's what I got. Mr. Metzger, passing the mic over to you, sir.
Chris, are you controlling my PowerPoint?
I do have your PowerPoint. Yes, sir. Would you like for me to be your button pusher and personal assistant today?
Well, I know in the past that's what you've done, so.
Yes, I am a control freak, and I do like pressing the buttons.
All right, let me answer the question on the subcontractor employee. Guys, yes, if you have people coming in to your school and you say, you got to be here at 4 and you're working till 8, and it's pretty consistent and it's long-term, that's an employee. If you get audited, you could get in trouble if you're trying to save the tax and call them a subcontractor. A subcontractor typically sets their own hours. A subcontractor typically has a specific job or task to do so if I said, I want to bring you in to get my demo team ready for this World Championships, do what you got to do and get them ready. That could be a subcontractor. They set their own schedule. They're using their own equipment. They're doing whatever they got to do to get that team ready. And when it's done, and they move on and they leave, unless I have another task for them. But if they're teaching, because I have a class schedule and I'm telling them when they need to be teaching classes, that's an employee. So, you know, as you grow your business, if you have those habits, you know, my business mentor 25, 30 years ago said, you're getting too big. By the way, let me just say, first of all, put a 1 in the box if you're an IRS agent. Before I say what I'm going to say, I just want to see. All right. Oh, all right. So anyway, when Adrian gets off, I will talk to you guys. No, listen, when I was starting up, there was a time, and like I'm sure most of you or some of you have done, where we're talking 30 some years ago, as a teenager, right? I'd pay my guys cash to save the taxes. I'd be like, hey man, do you want cash? Because then you're going to make a little more money, save the taxes, this, that, and the other. And I'll never forget what my accountant, who was also my business mentor, said. He goes, at one point he said, you're getting too big to be doing stuff like that, because if you get caught, you have a lot more to lose than when you were charging $4 a class. And it ended right then and there. So I pay taxes just like anybody else, and which is why I got into commercial real estate development, because now you can use that as a defer on the taxes. So that's a whole wealth seminar. We're not talking about that now on commercial real estate investing. But all right, let's dive in here, Chris. So look, I also believe in my own mind, just from talking to so many of you consulting. Oh, she actually was an agent in her early career. So in my own mind, from talking to consulting schools for the last 25 years, all over the world, literally, right? I feel this industry is constantly looking for the next shiny object. What's the newest thing I can do to get me new students? What's the easiest route I can take? Now, I'm all about efficiency. Like Chris said, if you saw that spreadsheet she pulled up, and she said I would be an absolutely not person, because that's overwhelming for my personality, right? I like simple, I like easy. I like to try to accomplish whatever the goal is. I like to accomplish it as easy as possible. And in order to do that, you have to stay in the forefront of your mind. You have to stay focused on what it is that you're actually trying to do. And at the end of the day, you're trying to grow your business. So now you got to work backwards. Well, how do you grow your business? Well, by the way, number one, get out of your mind that you just want new students. That is just a way to grow your business. But at the end of the day, you want to grow your business. That means revenue. In business, that means revenue. So I want to try to make the most money as ethically as possible by providing a good quality service and value to my community, right? Well, how can I do that? I'm going to tell you, it's called fundamentals and it's called basics. How do you win a fight? You know, I don't know what style you teach, whether you're BJJ, Muay Thai, karate, boxing, it doesn't matter. Jab, crosses, hooks, uppercuts, that wins fights. Roundhouse kicks, side kicks, straight back kicks, that wins fights. I don't need to be doing 540, 720s, jump 360, spin hooks. And by the way, old-fashioned pressure on the ground in BJJ, pressure, basics. Look at Roger Gracie, basics wins, and basics wins in business. So even I say that because as I start this, I don't want to lose you, because I will get to the meat of this. But let's go here. You need to keep this on the forefront of your mind. First slide. All right. When marketing your martial arts school, you got to educate your community. And go ahead, Chris. And what are we trying to market? Are we trying to market martial arts? The answer is no, we are not, right? I always say, if you lined up 1,000 people in your community, if you go out to a fair and just say, hey, can I get 1,000 people against the wall? If you guys are interested in doing martial arts, step forward. How many people of the 1,000 are going to step forward? But if you said, if you're interested in getting in better shape or having more confidence for your child or discipline or respect, step forward. You might have all 1,000 people step forward. So here are the bullet points. We're marketing confidence, discipline, focus, and respect, right? But there's a problem with that. Does anybody want to guess what the problem is with that? Marketing, confidence, discipline, focus, and respect? Anybody? Put in the chat box. What do you think the problem? Exactly correct, Joe. Every martial arts school says confidence, discipline, focus, respect, right? So go ahead. Next bullet point. We don't want to market martial arts. We want to market the results, right? Not the path to get those results, right? Martial arts is the path to get the results. People don't care about that. They just want the result. And we got to stay focused on the result. Focus on what the community wants, not on martial arts itself. And the best way to do this, everybody, one of the best ways to do this, right? Of course, you should always have a trial, some sort of trial, because there are people there are people in your community that want martial arts training. They saw a movie, Karate Kid is coming out this month, right? The new Karate Kid movie. Well, that's going to inspire some kids. Some kids are going to say, Mom, I want to do karate. I want to do martial arts, right? The UFC is putting tens of millions of dollars behind bringing BJJ to the forefront of the world. So that will inspire people. I want to do BJJ. So you still have to go after those people, right? But more people are going to be interested in what everybody is interested in. And that's, I want to be stronger. I want to be in better shape. I want to have community. I want, my kid to not get picked on, bullied. I want them to have more confidence, right? So now the trials don't work for that all the time because it becomes numb. So what do? We host free community events to attract students without commitment pressure. And what I mean by that, and I'll talk about that, is if I say we are hosting a free community event, nobody is thinking I got to sign up for something. It's a free community event that we happen to be hosting. Okay. So next, let's go over some of those ideas. Now we got to engage, right, the community. And so here's some event ideas for kids. You may want to host a free confidence building seminar for all the kids in the community, right? We're hosting a free confidence building seminar for all the kids in the community this Saturday at 11 a.m. Or a focus and leadership workshop, or a bully buster boot camp, or a confidence through board breaking event, right? I wouldn't just put board breaking event. That will attract kids. So it depends. If you're in front of kids and you're at a school or you're somewhere where you're doing something in front of kids and you call up a volunteer and a child breaks a board, all you got to do is have one kid break a board if that's something you do, right? And I know BJJ schools don't break boards, but the point, you gotta understand the concept here. But if I have one child break a board in front of 100 other kids, and I give that kid a high five and I sign their board with a Sharpie, and I look at the other 100 kids sitting down and I say, who else wants to break a board? Raise your hand. How many hands do you think will go up? Because I just created emotion. All of them, right? And then I would say, well, look, we don't have time to get through all 100 kids, but how many of you would like to come to a free board breaking event at our martial arts school this Saturday at 11 a.m.? And by the way, guys, we're going to have a little pizza after you do it. We're going to set goals. We're going to do a little exercising. But let me ask you this. How many of you would like your mom and dad to hold the board so you could show your mom or dad how you smash through one of those boards? Raise your hand. They're going to raise their hand. And I'll say, well, I have some passes here for the invitation. I have some invitations here, but I only have so many. So please don't take one unless you really want to tell your parents that you want to come to our free event this Saturday. How many of you want one of these invitations? All of them are going to raise their hand and they're going to take it. All I did was increase my odds now of kids telling their parents that they want to come to this free event. That's an example, though, of how we would present a free event. Now, listen up, everyone, before we go to the next slide, because I'm going to talk about adults in a minute. But some of you will want the easy way out. Some of you will just put an invitation on social media and say, we're hosting a free bully buster seminar, board breaking event, or whatever. And cross your fingers and pray that people are going to start registering and your phones are going to ring. Lightning strikes sometimes. That can happen. It can happen. But 100%, I am not going to rely on that. I'll do that. That's great. But I also got to get myself in front of my audience and hope that all of it works. But this is what I mean. Sometimes we want to be so efficient that we scale things down so much that, listen, I hate to say that, we become lazy. We become lazy. And no matter how far technology gets, right? Nothing will beat, nothing ever. I don't think in 1,000 years, nothing will beat face-to-face or human interaction face-to-face, right? Not a robot, not AI, not in our near future anyway, face-to-face. So your mission should be, instead of thinking, what can I do to get new students? What can I do to grow my school? What can I, just ask yourself this, start focusing on, what can I do to get myself in front of my market? What can I do to get, once you figure that out, then the rest becomes easier, right? Now what do I do once I'm in front of my market that's going to get me new students in the building, right? But focus on how you can get, now when some of you work some of you work a full-time job and your martial arts school is a part-time job. And some of you have a dream of retiring from your full-time job and just work in your martial arts school because it's your passion, it's your love as a profession, and not have another job. So you'll say, I don't have time to do that. Yes, you do. Unless you're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, you have time. The question is not, can you find the time? It's, will you find the time? That's the question, right? And that's where Chris said earlier, knowledge doesn't get you anywhere. You got to execute. And if you have a goal of, I want to be able to do this full time and I don't want to worry about paying bills, or I'd love to hire one of my students who now would love a career, you can make it happen. It's just not can you, it's will you, right? All right, next, let's go back to the next one for adults, for those of you who work with adults. Same idea, right? Of course, we have our special trial offers that are out there. But what can I do to get more adults in my building? Well, I could host a free fitness and self-defense seminar, right, for beginners. I could do a team building seminar for educators or corporate events. I could do a wellness and strength workshop. But how do I do that? How do I get people to do it? Well, what I would do is I would talk to every parent in my school, every adult student in my school, and say, hey, let me ask you something. Where do you work? Do you think you or your coworkers or anyone at work would have any interest in a free self-defense and fitness seminar if we offered it free for all of your coworkers and people? Now, some people would say yes, right? And the ones that say yes say, well, look, we'll do it because I could take 20 spots, right? So let me give you this flyer. Let me give you a couple passes. I would just need to know in the next 2 weeks, if you can get an interest list for me, let me know how many people would be interested and I'll put them down. But at the same time, I'm going to do that with every single parent and adult student. Because if I fill up, I'm going to have another one the next weekend. And I'm going to have another one the next weekend. A lot of you hear us say in MAIA that we like working as a partner in education with the public schools, right? Well, we like that, but we don't always just work with the public school system to go after the kids, because there's 100 and some faculty and staff members in that building too. So I like going to the principal and saying, hey, would you like to offer a self-defense seminar for all your teachers, faculty, and staff? Or a team building event for all your teachers, faculty, and staff? Team building and self-defense seminar, or team building and fitness seminar, right? Well, here, let's set it up. We could take, we'll take 20, 25 kids. By the way, principal, if you want, I could do it here on your campus, or I could host it at our martial arts facility on a Saturday. Do you want to get an interest list, see who'd be available? These are just examples of how you get people inside your building. So the other point before we go to the next slide is, some of you try to sell your services before people even get in your building. You got to change your mindset there. Don't try to sell your product or service when they're not even in your building. Your first mission is just get them in your building. Can you imagine if all the car dealerships just tried to sell everybody cars without coming to the lot, right? Are there people, Carvana, are there certain sites that may do that? Yeah, but they have a system. You can look at the vehicle and send it right back, right? But the majority of cars are not sold there. The majority of cars are sold on lots, right? You got to go, you want to see it, you want to build rapport. We're not in a product business, we're in a customer service business. Every business is customer service, but ours is really relationship based. So don't forget that, right? So get people in your building. All right, next. So why do free events work? Well, I said it earlier. They're very safe. They're not threatening. There's no thought of needing to commit to anything. The next thing is it's a free event. And I'm not going to be, there's no big sales pressure, but I am going to take a minute and tell you how we get them to enroll once they get there. But listen, this is where your job comes in. Value leads to interest, because check this out. So one of my martial arts schools is in a little community that's all, have you ever seen the Truman Show? Like where he lives in this bubble? That's like one of my schools is in like the bubble. There's the own elementary school, middle school, high school, grocery store, doctor's offices. It's all in the community. It's all like, nobody has to leave. The motto of this community that the martial arts school is live, learn, work, and play. You don't have to leave. Well, my martial arts school that I'm referring to has been open since 2001. It was my third school that I opened. That's 24 years ago in this little community. How is it that we consistently still get new students in this community? Well, of course, people move in and out, right, or whatever. But we are 200 yards from one of the elementary schools in this community. We will, 200 yards. We'll market, we'll do everything. We'll have a slow enrollment month. We'll go into that elementary school. We'll do something, like I mentioned, do a little talk to the kids, tell them about our free community event. And then all of a sudden that school will enroll 18 people on a Saturday on 1-year programs, by the way. And I've said it to my staff to make a point, like I'm going to say it to you. Where were these 18 people before Saturday? Where were they? Well, they're not interested in martial arts. What we did is we showed value. It led them to interest in coming to our free event. And then we created emotion, which then led to a commitment of martial arts. So my point is when parents and stuff bring their kids in, or if a parent or a student of yours adult goes and tells their coworkers that there's a free team building and fitness seminar that your martial arts school is holding, it's a free community event for just us and our coworkers, they're not walking in there thinking, thank God, I've been wanting to do martial arts forever. It's not what they're thinking. So now what are you going to do to show the value in martial arts, create emotion that's going to get them to now want to enroll? So number one, when somebody comes in, let me give you this little tip. A lot of you, some of you that are in MAIA, a lot of you on here are MAIA clients, right? Elite in our consulting program. You know this, but it's good to be here again. First of all, no pressure. But what we do say is when we welcome everybody, one of the things that we do when we welcome everybody is we say, look, a lot of you had called and asked about what you can wear and, you know, what are we going to learn here, right? But I want to let you know, some of you also asked, well, if I want to continue, like what's the cost? How do I sign up if I like this? Look, today is about our free community event. However, because so many of you were asking, at the end of our free event, we will have a special for you. For those of you who might be interested in continuing. And by the way, we'd love to have all of you continue on with your journey once you see the values and benefits of martial arts training. But today, let's just focus on our free event. So here you go. Step 3, reiterate the wants of the community, build rapport with the prospects, create emotion inside the building, and then have a call to action today only. So when we do that, after the free event is over, if it's adults and we're all sitting down, How do you create emotion with adults? Number one, they better be laughing, smiling, having a good time, encouraging each other, working with a partner. Let me give you another pro tip. If you do anything with adults, even if you have adults come out on the floor sometimes with the kids to hold targets, always get an adult to pair up with another adult, even if it's for 5 minutes, so they can just get an idea of what it would be like working with another adult. Number two, pro tip, rotate the partners, because obviously I'm going to partner up with the person I came with or the person I know, right? But I want them to build relationships and introduce themselves to everybody in there. So if you don't know each other, guys, just give each other a high five, introduce yourself. Let's have fun with this. Pro tip number three, work them out, especially if they're new, adults now I'm talking about. Work them out, but not too hard. If you work them out too hard to where they're throwing up in your garbage can, they probably will not want to come back. They're going to feel like I can't do this. This is too much. However, if you work them out enough just to get a little bit of red cheeks, I call it, a little bit of red cheeks, right? Then they believe this is not scary at all. I can do this. I don't have to wait till I lose 20 pounds to start, right? How many times have you heard that from an adult? Oh, when I get better shape, then so you want to gauge, that's how you can create emotion with adults. How do you create emotion with kids? Well, the one example I said earlier is have them smash through a little board. That's easy. It's not about power. It's just about building their confidence, making them feel good, creating emotion, having them give a high five to their parent, having their parent tell them how great they just did. That's creating emotion with kids. These are just basic examples, okay? Next, once you do that, okay, and I'll read those questions in a minute, you always have to ask questions that are going to give you the answers that you want, right? If I say to a parent, hey, what, and these are just examples, what would change with your child's future if they truly had unbelievable confidence and believe they can accomplish anything? What would that be like? And just like Chris has done with you guys, put a 1 in the box, tell me this, tell me that. I would do that when I'm done. If I'm working with kids, I'm going to go to the parents as the kids are still on the mat, sitting in a huddle. Pro tip number 4, don't dismiss the kids and have them run back to your parents, or you've lost your audience. So while they're sitting around with an assistant instructor just talking about the class, what they learned today, you need to address the parents and say, let me just ask you, parents, did you think that they learned some fun, cool things today? Do you think they had a good time? Do you think this would really help them with their confidence? Let me ask you, what do you think would change with your child's future if they just believe so much in themselves that they can accomplish anything? Anybody want to tell me, give me an idea? I'll ask a couple of people, right? How would your child handle pressure with real confidence? Because what I do with kids is I say, you know, I have 2 girls, 11 and 16. Peer pressure is real and it's all over, right? And I tell the parents this. My point is, and by the way, you know, if this is something that you think would benefit your child, why would you want to wait? I know a lot of you showed interest. You were asking about how you can continue. Here's the deal. And then what I would do is I would tell them, normally, if you were to come into our school and you wanted to enroll in our basic program, normally it's X down, X a month, whatever it is. But because you guys came to this special community event today, and so many of you were interested, if anybody is interested in continuing, and nobody has to, but again, we'd love to have you as students, show you how this can change your life. Today only, you can enroll for X. And I'm not, by the way, the mass intro is a whole seminar, but I'm teaching you the concept here of how you would do this, right? Okay, next slide. So this is just some things that I would sit with adults. Now, unlike kids, remember, I said I'd have the kids on the mat, and then I would walk over to the adults sitting in the lobby area or the waiting or the seating area, or however your school's laid out. But with adults, I would just have gotten done with 20 jumping jacks, maybe 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups, right? Again, throughout the class, we're doing things. And then I'd say, everybody, you know, have a seat, relax for a minute, right on the mat. And I would say, let me ask you something. How many of you have done martial arts before? You know, how many have not, right? How would you like to feel more empowered than you've ever felt? But the difference between us and a gym, and I always use this example, is you're not by yourself. Look around. How would you like to do that with this community? You guys had a great time today, right? And then you could talk about how would a positive disciplined community of like-minded individuals like we have right here impact you? Do you think it would impact you in a positive way? You think it would help you accomplish your goals? You think you'd be more motivated, right? And by the way, how many of you ever started a gym routine, a diet, and then got off of it, and then started it again, got off of it? What if this was the last time you ever had to start over because you just stumbled on something you never even thought you'd want to do, right? So these are the questions that I would say to the adults, certain questions like these. And then at the end, let's go to the next slide. So remember your goal, right? People don't want martial arts. They want transformation. They want something. They want the result, right? You're not selling. You're educating them. You are showing them who they can become based on what it is that they want. There is a difference between wants and needs. As instructors, as martial artists, we kind of know what they need, right? But you got to remember what they want. So how is that relative? And then you must know how to paint that picture and deliver. Let's bring back up the group. Let's bring the group up. So look, how is that important? What do I mean by that? Some of you are so into tradition. And I don't mean this negatively. I grew up in Taekwondo. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu forever. I train in BJJ now, right? But I'm blessed enough to have a good group of people that come to me and train from the BJJ schools and, you know, great high level people, because I like that. Because when you're so rooted in tradition, I could predict the class. I know what you're going to teach. We're going to warm up with this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Then we're going to roll, or then we're going to spar, or then we're going to do our form 20 times, and by the way, that's what they may need. That's what they may need, but it's not necessarily what they want. You have to learn how to deliver the needs and the wants if you want to keep students longer. And you have to make sure that you understand that if you try to make the best students in the world within 1 year of training with you and they quit, the instructor or the martial arts school that takes 3 years and keeps their student 3 years, that student at 3 years will be better than the student that quit at 1 year. Right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. So you have to be able to balance that, or you're going to lose your customer. You're going to lose your customer. And for those of you who don't think you lose customers, that's another seminar. You lose customers. I mean, you know, you have an attrition rate. Just take a look from the time you opened your school, how many students you enroll on average, add it up. How many years? Do you have that many students? Of course you don't, right? Because people quit, right? We want to get the odds in our favor to keep our students as long as possible, possibly for life. But the first thing that, guys, today, my little segment here was, what is one of the most effective ways to get you new students? And it is not this. It's not just pushing a button, sitting back, and hoping you wake up with messages or opt-ins or however that digital marketing stuff works. Do we do it? Yes, but we don't rely on it. That's one. Chris has a great talk that she does at our seminars about how many fishing lines do you have in the water. Well, if you have one fishing line in the water and the guy down the beach has 20 fishing lines in the water, who has better odds of catching fish, right? I mean, so you got to, again, get in front of your audience, then know what you're marketing once you're in front of your audience. Don't try to sell your program. Just try to get them in your building. Once they're in your building, try to engage them and educate them on the values and benefits of whatever it is you're doing, and then create emotion to where they think, you know what, this would be great to do. This would be great for our child. This would be great for me. I want to do this. And by the way, once you understand that, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Chris?
Yeah, so want to just go through here some of the questions that were asked. So themes for summer marketing campaign ideas or ideas on who or where for booths. It's from Mr. Morales.
Okay, so and by the way, I see Mr. Tassel squirming. He may have a thought or may want to add something. So if you do, Tass, just jump in. But let me answer that. So look, so that's another thing. A booth. Here's the biggest mistake I see people make if you go run a booth. So where? I don't care if it's a farmer's market. I don't care if it's a pumpkin patch during Halloween. I don't care if it's in front of your grocery store because they let you set up a table, right? Anywhere where there's a gathering of your community. But what some of you do is you go there and you collect leads. Some of you don't even collect leads. You just hand passes out for a 2-week trial. 2-week trial. Here you go, guys. We're everything of martial arts, guys. Here's a martial arts 2 weeks for $29 or whatever you guys do. Well, that's a mistake. The second mistake is, hey, if you ever thought about martial arts, you can hit the Bob 20 times if you just put your name and email and phone number down, and then we'll give you a call next week. That's mistake number 2. So if you want to know how to run a booth, what you're going to do is you're going to set appointments at that booth. Or if it's not on a Saturday or Sunday, let's say you're out somewhere on a Friday or a Thursday or a Wednesday, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be marketing our free community event this Saturday. And I'm going to say, we're doing a free community event for all the kids in the community. Or I wouldn't do adults on like this. We're doing a free community event for all the kids in the community. If you're interested, we have 25 spots. We're going to cover some, confidence building techniques, some fitness, so many kids. If you're interested, it's a free event. Just put your information here. And they're signing up for a specific time. That's an appointment. That's a time, right? Now, if I'm at a booth on a weekend, on a Saturday, I am not promoting an event next Saturday. It's too long. The emotion now has worn off. What I am going to do, now pay attention, this is a golden nugget for you guys. I don't even know if I talk about this tomorrow or whatever, but that's why I hate organization. I like going off the cuff, right? I don't want to hold anything back from you guys. What I will do is I will have a special that I'm marketing. For example, 4 weeks for $49. But in the meantime, I'm giving away free snow cones at my booth because I got to get, remember how I said you got to get people in your building? When I have a table, I got to get people to my table. So I don't care if it's snow cones. I don't care if it's, can you hit this Bob 10 times or 20 times in 10 seconds? I don't care if it's candy, a big bowl of candy, come get a bowl of candy. I got to get them to my booth so I can talk to them. Hey, how you doing, guys? You want to try to hit the Bob? Or have you ever thought about martial arts? Well, look, if you have any interest, we have a special right now. It's 4 weeks for $49. But if you just set an appointment to come in to try a free class to see if this is something you'd even be interested in, just by setting an appointment today to come in on Monday or Tuesday, we're going to cut this special in half. So it's only $25. Plus, you're going to get a free official martial arts uniform if you decide that after your free class, you want to take advantage of the special. So you'd get 4 weeks for $25 and one of these martial arts uniforms. Do you want to just take advantage of that special right now and just come in for a free class, see if this is something you would enjoy to see the values and benefits of the program? And my goal would be to be setting appointments. Now, I want to be handing that 4 weeks for $49 to 1,000 people, but I want to leave that booth with 20 appointments. Okay? That's how you run a booth. Chris, was there a part 2 to that question, or was that it?
That was it. Thoughts on what you would do for adults with the booth?
Yeah, the adults really, I wouldn't, I put it this way. I'm not going to say I wouldn't, but I haven't run a booth where I was promoting a free self-defense thing. The way I get adults is by doing what I told you earlier, right? Going into the school systems, having a relationship, talking to my own students, my own adult students, my own families that aren't even in there. That's the way I get adults. As far as adults go, it would be a special. I would do a special and try to set appointments. I wouldn't do a free community event. I would tell the adults too, by the way, we have a great adult program. Same thing. If you want to come in, try our adult class, set an appointment to come in Monday at 7:30, or whatever it is. So same thing with the appointments, just not promoting a free community event on Saturday for the adults. Tass, did you want to add anything at all, or are you good?
No, I love it. I was just the reason for the look is I'm going to be going through the power stack on during my session, so you're tiptoeing around some of those ideas. But I'll talk more. I'm excited because this conversation, and I think sometimes we have a tendency. I don't want to give everything away, but have a tendency to look at our marketing at a surface level, and we do the one thing. You said push the button as an example, right? For social media ads, which of course you need to do. But we tend to do the one thing, and then we kind of, do the, whether it's pay and pray, or if it's just, let's try it and see if it works. And then when it doesn't work, we're like, well, that doesn't work. We've already tried that. That's like learning the move as a martial artist and doing it 3 times and then trying to take it to competition and say, well, it just doesn't work. Well, no, you just didn't work it, right? So there's a lot of really, those questions that you had put on there, I actually wrote some of those down and added into the arsenal of what to ask, parents and things like that, because just the way in which you said them and they were worded. And by the way, I don't know if you guys caught this, but how they were worded and how we said them were 2 different things. And so I think it's important that you guys take that gold nugget away. I was also smirking a little bit. I don't know if anyone's going to cover this, so I don't want to step on toes, but Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday, and listen, it's not too late for you to do something for Mother's Day, right? So whether that's you have, every mom in your school come on the floor this week during classes on Wednesday and Thursday as an example, that's something that you can do. But then I would go back to those adult questions that Mr. Metzger just went through. I mean, he went through on how to get the parents into class, get them rosy cheeked, like all of that can be done at any time, by the way, right? For a family workout or a parents as coaches workout or an adult class that you invite another friend to come in as an adult, all of those things can be done. But then if you start asking some of those questions at the end of that class, right? And think about how can you get these moms in this case, and by the way, we can rinse and repeat because next month is Father's Day and we would do the same thing, but how can we ask these questions in a way to maybe inspire them to do what? To try out 30 days of your martial arts program, whether that's for free, the cost of the uniform, whatever. And the last thing I'll say is this, like, I think sometimes I don't think, I know that a lot of times people are very, I say people, I'm saying business owners, we get to be just so cheap. Like, well, I'm not giving somebody a free uniform and 30 days free to try a class. Okay, well, you don't have to. Well, my uniform is $50 retail, or my uniform is $50 wholesale, or whatever it is for you. Great. I mean, I don't know. You have to determine what the lifetime value of a student is for yourself. That's a whole nother conversation. But would it be worth? What would you rather have? Would you rather collect a lead online, and just hear me out, right? Because I know, and this is not a hit on GrowPro by any means, right? But I'm just comparing. Would you rather have a lead that you paid for online, or a lead that you have a name, number, and email for, or someone on your mat for 30 days trying classes? Like, which one would you rather have? Years ago, there was 2 types of people that came around, salespeople. One was the oil change guy. They came around the martial arts school. Basically, it was, I paid whatever it was, 30, 40, 50 bucks for this card. It got me, I don't know, 5 oil I'm making the number up, 4 or 5 oil changes, a tire rotation, of this, that. I'm like, how can you guys afford to do this? And like, well, because when they get you in for the one service, they know that they're going to continue to get you back in. Same thing. A spa came to town. They did the same thing. I actually tried to get them to do it for me, where they would go door to door and they would just say, hey, look, if you go to Championship Martial Arts, you're going to get a free month, a free uniform, a free private lesson. Sell the card for whatever you want to sell it for. You keep all the money. I just deliver me the person and I'll complete the services. I just couldn't find it, right? So if I had a magic wand and said, hey, listen, I'm going to deliver you 50 people to your school. Here they are. All you need to do is provide them with a uniform and teach them for the next 30 days. That's the responsibility that you have. I think everybody would take me up on. I hope everybody would take me up on that, because you should have that much belief in your program that because every martial arts school owner I talk to, they're like, once they're here, we enroll all of them. That's like every school owner. Well, we enroll all of them. Once they're here, we enroll all of them, or we enroll 90%. So if that truly is the case, I believe strongly that you would all be like, yes, that's a deal I would do all day long. Like, give me 50 people on my floor. I'll provide them the outfit at my cost. I will teach them my cost, and I will do everything for them for 30 days, because we know the results and what the results are going to be, right? And so this is where we have to start thinking big picture, and then it leads into things like summer special, right? Where, some people start overcharging, or we make our trials way too expensive because we want to make this pop of cash on our trials. Well, what's the goal of your trial? And I know there's the con side to it, which is, well, if I undercharge, then they're not going to understand the value. And when I go to sign them up in the program, they're going to think it's too much. Yeah, I get it. There's both sides of that coin. But if you're in a position, which I believe most people that are on here are on here because you want more students in your school. That's just my belief, right? But the majority of you are on here for that reason. And so if that's the case, what I would encourage you is that, get rid of this idea of the quality of revenue that you're pulling in right now from trials, or if you got to, like, oh, we're going to do a 90-minute adult seminar, we're going to charge X amount of dollars for that seminar. Get rid of all that and lower the barrier and do free, and just get a quantity of people in front of you and see how that changes your school. Of course, I'm not saying teach them free forever, but just as far as getting the faucet turned on and getting them in your school. So I'm excited there. I think there's a lot of great things. If you guys are, really diving in and processing, like, well, how can I do this? And I'll tell you, success loves speed, right? So if you heard these questions that Mr. Metzger was talking about, and talking about how to get an adult on the floor, getting them rosy cheeked, here's some questions to ask an adult. And if you're like, well, this weekend's Mother's Day, you can literally go to Costco and you can buy long stem roses for 83 cents a rose. You can go get whatever you have, 50, 100, 150, 300 roses, however many students you have, put them in a 5-gallon bucket, have all of the moms join you on the floor on Wednesday, Thursday during classes. At the end, their kids give their mom a long stem rose, and you just present any mom that wants to come in and train. You're doing 30 days free with a free uniform, or for just the cost of the uniform, or whatever you want to do. But you can only take X number of spots because you don't want to overfill your classes. I believe that one thing alone would be worth your time on this entire Zoom. Why? Every year we do the Mother's Day and Father's Day deal, and here's what I will tell you. It is not where we get 15 new students from it. We get about 3 to 5 new students. New students, by the way. We get more than that to try it out, but about 3, 4, or 5 of them will actually stick around for Mother's Day. They'll actually stick around for Father's Day after that, and they become students. And I will tell you, the quality of revenue of those students is usually very, very good. Why? Because their kids are training with us, and they're typically a great client, and the lifetime value of that client is much higher. So just some things to think about as you're going through, like, what else can we do and how creative can we get? But I love everything that I'm hearing. And by the way, Chris started with a great opening with, how am I going to plan all this? What am I going to do? This has been a mantra of mine lately. The martial arts business is very simple. This is not a hard business, right? You get people, they come in, they try a class, you put them onto a term, you ascend them over time, upgrade, whatever you want to call it, or you don't. It's up to you. But it's pretty simple business. The problem is, it's not easy. It's not easy. There's just so many moving parts and so many things to do. Just this morning, I was having a conversation about, boy, you teach somebody to come in and they got to open up the phone app and they got to listen to voicemails. I'm going to make it complicated because this is what a lot of us do, right? But I got to open up my phone app. I've got to listen and return voicemails. I've got to look at the text message and return those. Then I've got to go to my CRM. I got to return text messages from my CRM. I got to return push notifications from my CRM. Then I got to go open my Facebook page, look at all those comments, reply. Oh, I got to open my Messenger, reply to those. Let me go to my Instagram DMs, look at and this is how we operate. Yes, I get it's a lot of stuff. Oh, then I got to go to my emails. And for the first 30 minutes of your day might just be looking at all of your social media and or communication realms and looking at all of those and then responding to those. But we can make things very difficult, or we can just say, yeah, it's just part of the process. It's what we do, and we got to get it done. And then some of us are going to try and resist and say, well, the only way that I communicate with my clients is through email. And you can't do that either, right? So I think it's really, really exciting for you guys, everyone, to be here. I'm looking forward to the next 2 days together with everybody. And I'm hoping everyone's writing down their key takeaways, like Chris said. And then even more so than that, I would tell you the most successful people in this industry, in any industry, are the ones who go from idea to execution, right? And so I'd love to see how fast that you can implement some of this stuff in your school, because 70%, like I just said this to a team member yesterday, just post it, just get it done, do it, whatever, let's get it out. Why? Because if it's done 80% correctly and it's executed, it's better than being perfectly done and never executed, right? And so that's something that I've had to remind myself of lately as well. That's what I had, Miss.
So Tess, did you want to say anything, or
Was it? You asked. You opened up the door.
Okay, that's our time, folks. Thanks.
There you go. There you go. Hey, it's hard listening, isn't it?
That's that sarcastic sense of humor, everybody. That's how we roll around here. Hey, so Chris, is there another question?
Yes, we have a couple in there. Before we do that, just can you maybe give I'm just curious, can we get in the comments, yes or no, have you hosted a successful community event in your school before? Yes or no? Have you hosted and successful to me would be you were able to enroll students from them. Okay, so we got a couple of no's, but.
Let me just ask this question. What's the most amount of students you actually enrolled, not on a trial, by the way, not on a trial, enrolled, full-fledged, became an enrollment from one event? What's your best number? 25, 10, 17, 3, 4, 9, 10. By the way, let's look at the 3 number for a minute, and I appreciate that. 18, 5, 12, 35. Hey, guys, listen, let's take that 3 for a minute. There are people on here that enroll 3 a month. There are people on here that enroll 3 students a month. How would you like to enroll 3 students in 1 hour, right? From a community event? All of you would, let alone 35, 10, 17, 25, right? If you're not doing this, by the way, have you ever, I mean, you're a martial artist. Have you ever, your instructor taught you how to do an arm bar, or taught you how to do a sweep if you're BJJ, or your instructor taught you how to do a roundhouse kick, or a spin hook kick, or a side kick, or a jab cross, right? Your instructor taught you that. And when you drill it, you're like, man, I think this is pretty easy. I got this. Now spar or go roll. Coach, I can't sweep them. The sweep that you just taught me isn't working. But we're not morons. We know we need to practice the sweep. We need to practice the roundhouse kick, the spin hook kick, the elbow, the clinch. You don't learn it and then all of a sudden you got it. That would be a miracle. I want you to understand that too with business. You're learning it. It sounds easy on paper. Wow, I'm going to go run a booth and man, this is unbelievable. I'm going to get 20 appointments. Maybe, doubt it, your first time out, but maybe, right? It takes practice. It takes practice. And you know what? Shame on me. This is where we're going to give this giveaway here in a minute, but let me put it out there. I want to be transparent. You guys are in a mass intro right now. Do you know that? You guys know you're in a free community event right now. You know that? Welcome to your free community event. Okay. Listen, by the way, when you do a free community event, you better give good quality substance. We will give you great ideas. So when you walk out the door for the rest of your life, you're going to leave better than when you walked in the door. Okay. But of course, we would like to get all of you into our program because we know we can help you. You are skeptical or scared because of cost or commitment or that I actually got to do the work. But there's not one person on this Zoom that can tell us, me, or anybody that what we do with our clients doesn't work. That's fake news, as our great leader would say here in the United States. That's fake news, people, right? The thing is we want to help you and we want to help the industry. So over the next 3 days, we will tell you about a special if you want to get into consulting. And the one thing that I want to tell you, Chris is the person, so she will tell you. Chris has scaled her digital marketing agency to over $4 million a year in a very short time. Over 4 million now, right, Chris? Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Right? Chris is type A personality. She's all about scaling, right? Well, when she said she was my last client I ever took on to consult. And then I brought her on the team because she has an unbelievable skill set, unbelievable business now. Well, once she got on the team and got comfortable and a little cocky, she said, I'm going to tell you how you could do this better. She goes, we need to do group consulting because so many other agencies do group consulting and it works. We could have 1,000 people in MAIA.
I have to get you to stop doing that.
Thank you, Matt. Why was he talking to me? Should I stop now? I feel uncomfortable. Oh, he left. Matt, we'll see you soon. And I said, Chris, if my main objective, Chris said earlier today, and I don't know who believes it, who doesn't, but I've been blessed, right? She said earlier on this call that I don't need to work anymore, right? Is there any, well, Shane and Chris are both unmuted. Is there any deception on that from you guys, right? That I need to, go ahead, chat. Let me hear the sarcasm back, Tess.
I mean, no, there's no reason that you need to come to work in a pink shirt every day.
Thank you so much. By the way, it's Structure, 1996.
And it's salmon, everybody. It's salmon.
Anyway, my point is I said to Chris, Chris, if my number one priority was to scale MAIA with revenue and growth, I would do group consulting. But I said my number one priority is to help the school owners, which is why we will not do group consulting. We will do one-on-one consulting. Because just like all of you on here, some of you have multiple schools. You saw it earlier. Some of you have full-time staff. Some of you are just by yourself. There is no way I can help you as much doing group consulting as one-on-one. Now, why was Chris and I battling over that? Because here's the reality of it. We can only take so many people. She showed you a slide of the consultants at the beginning. They can only take on so many clients because it's one-on-one. You have your own personal consultant with us, and I will not change that. I won't change it because that's what's best for you, for the industry, right? That's why I'm so confident that we are one of the best, if not the best out there, because I have the benefit of not wanting to scale this to feed my family, and that's my main mission. So I can cap it. And right now I'm looking at the board, and I can tell you right now, we got 12, 30, 40, we got 13 more people we can take right now in our consulting program before we got to just pause and waiting for spots to open up. We have 13 more people, but it is what is best for you guys. So that's why I'm so confident in what we do. And by doing this so many years and having 161 licensed locations following the same systems in wealthy areas, high density areas, low density areas, low income areas, all over the place, we know the systems that just work. And that's what we're here to do. And hopefully we'll show you some of that value over the next couple of days.
So, Mats, I do want to show them what the giveaway is. And the reason why I asked how many people had done community events, step number one, if you could just give like, all right, you have made the decision that you are going to do this community event to help increase your summer. Step number one, we need to pick a date. Step number two, we need to pick a theme, right? Mr. Metzger, anything else you want to say about them implementing kind of the community event today? We want them to pick a date. We gave them the theme. Anything else before we answer some of these last questions?
Yeah. So let me just, yes, by the way, We're very transparent. Some of you think, well, people in the MAIA program, you know, we have hundreds of people in our CMA, between our CMA licensing and MAIA, we have a lot of people. And they think that it's all perfect and roses, right, with us. And we just had Mr. Landis, right? He was just here last week. Clients will fly in and spend a couple days here, and they always say, man, I didn't know you guys deal with the same headaches and stuff that we do. Of course we do. So like the link's not working, we're going to get it fixed. But let me tell you this about the community events. Our enrollments were down. We are not ones to tell you I enroll 25 students a month at every one of our locations. We do not. By the way, there's times we don't enroll 10 new students a month at a location. But that's okay, as long as I know why. Why didn't we, right? As long as I know why. So in Orlando, right, in Central Florida, things were getting tough. Enrollments down. I was noticing it about 3 weeks into January of this year. And I told my directors, who oversee all our managers and everything, I said, look, there's so much to this, guys. I mean, there's so much that we can really teach you to take care of yourself as an owner and your people that eventually work for you. I'm very big at no financial ceiling for my people. I want them to make 6 figures and beyond, employees, health benefits, the whole nine. But as important, I want them to have work-life balance. Now, why does this matter when I'm talking about a community event? I'll tell you why. A couple of years ago, I had everybody getting in their schools by 12 o'clock, and they would work till 9 with an hour lunch break. So 12 to 9, 8-hour day, and then a shorter day on Friday, and then Saturday they would work 3 hours, 9 to noon, Saturday morning, right? Well, years ago, I said, you know what? I just don't think we need to work that much. So don't worry about getting to your schools till 2 o'clock. Get in at 2. And, you know, go have lunch with your family, go get your car fixed, go do your doctor's appointments. Don't have to be at your school till 2 o'clock. So we did that years ago. Last June, as we were going into summer, it took me months and months to just make sure the system's right. So you guys see the surface. Don't go do this. Do not do this. If I just want to be clear. But I worked on this for months. How can I give them the weekends off? No more Saturday classes. So 9 to noon. It's not a long time Saturday, but they work Friday. They know they got to get up at 7:30 or 8 in the morning to be at the school by 8:20 in the morning to work 9 to noon. So last June, we ended Saturday classes. So now you're working Monday through Friday. You're getting in at 2 into the school. Their pay structure, I changed that about 3 years ago. It really took off where they're getting so much more in pay, and they have great work-life balance. But enrollments were down. Enrollment, not over the last few years, but enrollments were down coming into this year and about 3 weeks into January. And I met with my directors, and I asked if I can meet with all the managers too, because I don't step on their toes. I met with the managers and I said, hey, you guys know we're a team, and you know I'm trying everything I can to make sure I take care of everyone financially and I take care of your work-life balance. I've given you Saturdays off. You don't have to come into your school at 2. Said, but enrollments now they've been on a downward trend. So I need you guys to push a little bit. And what I need you to do is do a free community event every Saturday now. We don't have classes, but every Saturday you got to do a free community event. Our enrollment skyrocketed in February. We had great enrollments in March. We know what to do when we need to do it, right? So as far as these free community events, if you just get it in your mind, I'm going to do it every Saturday. Now you got to say, well, how am I going to fill it? Well, anybody that comes into your school for information that doesn't try a class, hey, by the way, we have that you can enroll, or whatever happens, if they got to think about it, you know, you went through an enrollment or a trial and they got to think about it, talk to my husband, talk to my wife, I got to see, hey, by the way, we have a free community event this Saturday. We're going to be focusing on bullying or confidence or whatever. You want to do that? Start filtering, especially if you're a one-man or one-woman show. You got to find time in between classes to really try to sign people up or build rapport. If you're a one-man or one-woman show, filter everyone into a Saturday event to where you could do it all in one. You saw the numbers, guys, on here. We asked. the lowest number we saw on there was 3. Well, what if you did 3 every Saturday? That's 12 new students a month if you just did 3. So, by the way, what does it cost you to show up in your school if you're an owner to see if people show up, right? So when you can get new students. So my point is there's no reason why you should not be doing these free community events. It's just going to take practice. But wow, that giveaway is incredible. That's the first time I actually saw that. If you look, there was a social media post, the poster, the passes, the outline of how to do it, how to do the close. I mean, that's a pretty good giveaway there. But that's just one little piece of the detail and the systems that we would teach you guys if any of you wanted to take a leap and try our consulting out, right?
So just want everybody to know this link, you need to copy and paste this and save it somewhere, because when we send the recordings out, we're not going to be sending this link out. So this is the only time you can access it. So click on it, bookmark it, copy it, paste it, save it somewhere. I'll drop it a couple of more times before the end, but that gives you everything you need to successfully run your community event. So we did have 2 questions, Mr. Metzger. We got about 8 minutes left. Question number 1, we have a specific structure for an intro class. Is it better to have separate intro class times or have intros come in during the regular class time and have the class do the intro along with the prospective student and students?
Okay, I'll answer that. But first, I want to show you about execution and getting it done like Tassel said. Did everyone see the comment? By Heather Jordan. Awesome, links are working. Did you see how long that took the team? That's why we got the best team in the world, right? Links are working. We're not even done with the call. So there you go. And this team is your team. When you're in our family, my team is your team. I just want to try to keep selling you guys. No, let me answer that question. Here's the answer to that question. If you are capable or able to do a one-on-one intro appointment, I really like one-on-one intro appointments. However, with 9 locations that we own right here, not all of my schools can, so we would filter them into a class. But if we filter them into a beginner class or their age-appropriate class, we still need to accomplish the same things that we accomplish in an intro, and there's a 4-step system to that, which I won't get into. But you can't let them be floundering and be lost and intimidated in a class with students who have been coming in for the last couple months, maybe even if they're white belts. This is your home, so you don't understand how intimidating it may be to a new student coming in to a class. They're nervous, they're shy. However, both are okay. I prefer and I like a one-on-one intro if possible.
All right, next question. And this was based off of Mr. Tassel's suggestion with the Mother's Day, but would you have the moms do part of the class with the kids or just have the kids present the rows?
Tass?
Oh,
Guys, you have an hour. Let Tass answer that.
so what I would do is get the parents on the floor. Get the moms on the floor, excuse me. Get the moms on the floor. 2 very important things. Make it fun. Moms interact with the kids. Hold the pad, hold their legs for their feet for sit-ups, count their push-ups, have mom do a couple push-ups, sit-ups. Do not kill them. We said this earlier. Rosy cheek. Then, this is the important part. Separate the kids from the moms. The moms go together, kids go together. Because some of you do family classes, which is great. But if you don't do family class, and even if you do family classes, you want the mom to understand what it's like to work out with another adult. So that is the most important. Couple punches, couple kicks, maybe a self-defense move. That's it. Just make it easy. Make it simple. But yes, bring them on the floor. Kids and moms, kids and kids, moms and moms. Present at the end. Have fun. That's it.
By the way, you heard me say that earlier. And there you go. That shows you that it is a system. He is saying you've got to get the moms partnering up with other moms or adults, right? All right. Any other questions?
Last one. What do you suggest for sales time? Multiple families might be there. How do I enroll everyone?
Yeah.
At a mass intro. Is that
Oh,
correct?
well,
Right?
Correct. For at the community event.
Oh, at the free community event.
Look,
Yeah.
here's,
Go ahead,
well,
Tom.
I would say number one, now that the link is working, I would download the free mass intro guide and I would really read that. Listen, I'm just going to tell you, I used to do mass intros before I came on with MAIA, and they were nothing like I did when I got started with MAIA. And we didn't have a beautiful transcript that was all written out for you to study. And so what I did is I had to watch Mr. Pink Shirt deliver this. There was a live video of him doing the open and the close. And I would,
Yes.
pardon me?
Salmon.
Oh, salmon, sorry. So I would play it, I would stop, I would write it down. I'd play it, I'd stop, I'd write it down. And I wouldn't be lying to you if I told you that I watched that video probably over 50 times, right? Why is that important? Because when I really studied and understood it, I wanted to be able to deliver. I didn't want to have to read it. Now, what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to get so afraid that you're not going to do a free community event because you're afraid of the delivery. You will get better with time, but go through that packet. It explains everything perfectly on there, and you will understand how we enroll what we used to say 50% of the room. So if there's 10 people on the floor taking class in your free community event, you should enroll on average 50%, in this case 5. Our numbers have gone up over the years just because we've gotten better with it. But if you don't, if you get 2 or 3, it doesn't matter, right? Because I said statistically, you're going to enroll 50% or more and keep practicing and getting better and better. But you need to follow the entire system because there's details that are in there that if you leave them out and say, well, I'm not going to tell them that you heard Mets. Like when you go back and you look at this presentation, you're going to go, oh, he just pre-framed that a sales talk is going to occur. I see that step here. And if you leave that out because you don't feel comfortable with that, you're missing a key ingredient because there's reasons why we do everything. Because when you present the entire group at the end of that presentation, and now you bring up money for the first time, they go into what's called financial self-defense, and they fold their arms, and they're not listening. Like, I knew it. I knew there was a catch. When you do this in the beginning, it lets them know that this is done on purpose, right? You have their attention at the end of the actual free community event. There's some really, really great stuff in there. And then some of you are going to try and outsmart the system. And you're going to say, well, geez, if they can do that with 1-year contracts and they're binding and we take them to collections, which I'm kidding, we don't. But if you're going to do that with 1-year term or agreements, I'm just going to do it on a month-to-month. And it should work way better for you, by the way, if you do month-to-month programs. I would tell you need to have a term, but do it with month-to-month. Some of you are going to go, well, if they can get 50% or more of the room to sign up for 12 months at a time, I'm going to do a 3 or 4 or 6 week trial, and I'm going to get more people to sign up. And you won't. And some of you say, well, I'm going to do a free trial. I literally just heard this from one of our clients, and here's why they did it. They had a scheduling conflict. They had leadership training. There was 24 kids on the floor for leadership training at 11 o'clock. And there was a Girl Scout group that came, and they were supposed to be there at noon. Well, the miscommunication was they came there at 11. So they actually had the Girl Scouts come back at noon. And because he felt so bad, he offered them all a free 4 weeks. And would you be surprised if I told you less people signed up for the free 4 weeks than what we normally do for a 12-month agreement? So we've tried it every which way, and this is why it's tested and true. And so I would just tell you to refer to that. Then if you do have questions in the Q&A tomorrow or the day after, certainly bring those up and we can answer those.
All right, last one. It's 2:00. Should we invite current members to Mass Intro community events?
No, it's not for current members, but there are times where you will have current members be your marketing as far as bringing friends to a free community event. It's a whole different system when you have your students. We won't go into that right now because I want to respect everyone's time here, but no, I mean, your free community event is like a trial lesson, right? So your current students don't need to be there at this free trial lesson. They should be getting the values and benefits in their class that you're going to do in a 40-minute, free community event. And I say 40-minute because the whole thing may last an hour when you do kids. So no, but by the way, there are times where they are mixed, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do that on the enrollments. Okay.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us with day one. We've got more coming at you tomorrow and Thursday, same time, same Zoom link. Everything is the same. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys then.
Thank
Make it
you.
a great day.
Bye-bye.